All right, so this is going to go over how we make our stuffed pepperoncinis. We use a medium heat pepperoncini. We use a mixture that is cream cheese with shredded bacon, pimentos, and a little bit of pepper. You can add a little bit of salt, but the bacon usually takes care of that. So I'm going to go through the process of how we put these together. The first thing you're going to want to do is cook your bacon. I cut ours up into 1-inch strips, and that way it lays down in the pan more equally. If you try to cook them in full strips, if you've done that before, you know they kind of roll around and they'll get some of those raw bits. They don't quite get cooked. This makes it a lot more consistent. So I'll cook our bacon up, drain it, throw it in the fridge for a little bit so it hardens up. And once it's done, and the next thing I'm going to do is blend it. So we put this into our blender and we shred it to a fine consistency. The reason we do that is we're going to put this into our mixture and want to use a piping gun, that kind of frosting gun, to inject it into the peppers. And if you have big bacon bits, they get clogged up in there. I've done that in the past. So this method works fantastic. So you're going to shred your bacon, then you're going to dump that in with your cream cheese. It helps if at the very start of this entire process you set your cream cheese out at room temperature for about a half hour, because then it's more pliable. And when you throw your bacon on top of your cream cheese and blend it, it's going to be a lot more softened, easier to work with. Next thing you're going to do is drain your pimentos. I typically don't put the juice in there because it loosens it up too much. So I strain my pimentos, toss them in there, and it's like a red pepper, and then blend that just enough so they're combined into the mixture. And then I'll add some crushed black pepper, and then taste the mixture. Add salt if you need to, but I haven't really found that it needs to have salt added. The next thing you're going to do is strain your pepperoncinis. So I just throw a colander in the sink and I dump all of our peppers in there. The next thing we're going to do after that is process them. So what we want to do is we want to remove the stem and get rid of the seeds. The seeds kind of muck the texture up a bit, so we want to remove those out of the pepper. What I do is I take the knife and I cut it right below the stem. Keep as much pepper as possible. It makes a nice clean edge on the top of that pepper for presentation. And then roll the pepper between your fingers a little bit and then shake them out in your sink. And most of the seeds will come out. If there's a few in there, that's fine. These have been cooked as part of this process to make these pepperoncinis, so they're softened up, but a few seeds won't mess up the texture much. And there's an empty pepper. And we're going to fill it with this piping gun. There's other ways you can do it. You can do it with a knife, but it's a lot more work. I found that using this to inject the mixture in there goes way quicker. And depending on the size of the pepper, you may need to put more mixture or less mixture. If it's a large pepper, I find that if you fill that thing completely with mixture, it's kind of overkill. You're going to taste more cheese than pepperoncini. So I'll fill it about halfway and then squeeze it flat so you distribute the mixture in there. But this piping gun makes quick work of filling these nice and neatly and cleanly. And then when you're done, scarf at will or share them. But yeah, these have been kind of a favorite of ours to bring to get-togethers, and they're a crowd pleaser. So hope this helps.